Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. This is a Survivor's Guide to Life. My name is Jessica Lang and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. This little mini series I'm doing is inspired by New Year's and how I know most of us like to see New Year's as kind of a reboot, and so we want to be the best version of ourselves. So I thought, why not use this time to give you guys some information about trauma, about lasting impacts of trauma, and things that you can do to take care of yourself so that you can have a great new year and, of course, a better life. So, continuing on with this little mini series, I've been talking about the brain development and the stress response system. Just a quick review. There are 4 parts that we are discussing in the series: the brainstem, which gets developed first, followed by the diencephalon, then the limbic system, which I'll be talking about today, and then the cortex, which is the largest part and doesn't finish developing until about 25 for women and 26 for men. And that will be tomorrow's topic, so you can stay tuned for that. If you're enjoying what you're watching, please hit the subscribe button and the little notification so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. So the limbic system. The limbic system is what is commonly known as the emotional center of the brain. It's important not only because it gives you information about your feelings and emotions, which then kind of give you, and I'll go over it in a second, with the states of arousal, but it determines how you feel about a certain situation or event, and then what you then are going to do about that. It's also responsible for the attachment piece, the relationship piece that you have with other human beings. So I'm going to talk more specifically about attachment and attachment related stuff in regards to trauma in a different video, but just wanted you to keep that in mind, that when we're talking about the limbic system, when we're talking about the emotional center of the brain, we're also talking about that relationship piece and that attachment piece. What's important to remember is that the limbic system in conjunction with the brainstem, those are your lower parts of your brain, are intensely organized during those first 5 years of your life, where the brain's making so many connections, and it has to, right? Like the brain is just developing at just so fast that it's making so many connections between how you're feeling, right? So fear, happiness, etc. Pairing that with different physiological features, so like your heart rate beating really fast or you're sweating. So those all get embedded and infused together and they form connections. So you can't talk about the limbic system without talking about states of arousal. Our 5 states of arousal that I'm going to go over right now. That's calm, alert, alarm, fear, and terror. So this is the arousal continuum, right? So this is your mental state. So you might feel calm, alert, alarm, fear, or terror. So these are obviously emotional states. That's why I'm talking about it in the limbic system part. This is cognition, right? So this is that cortical functioning that I've been talking about, your cortex. So when you're calm, that's the optimal level. You're feeling like things are abstract. You can think about, your thinking's more abstract. You can think more about long term versus short term, right? Like pros versus cons. Like this is when you're taking a shower and you have all these brilliant ideas and creative ideas. That happens in this state over here. Why? Let me mark this up for you. So when you're in the shower and you're having all those brilliant ideas, this is here, right? You're in this area. When you get into the alert stage, so this is when there's like a low level of anxiety. Maybe you're at work and your teammate members have to rely on you. Maybe your boss is around. There's nothing that's making you feel threatened or afraid or scared, or any intense emotion, but you are pretty much aware of what's going on around you. It's a shift in thinking. Again, it's low level of anxiety. You're just more acutely aware of what's going on around you and maybe also what's going on inside of you. The cognitive functioning here is more concrete, so you're more focused on the task in front of you. Your mind's not necessarily wandering. So now we're here, right? And you've been triggered, or I should say, your stress response system has been activated in this area. So now you're going, whoa, what something's off here. So the emotional part, right, our limbic system, and you can see over here like the primary area of brain focus here, limbic, right? Okay, something's going on. I'm feeling a certain way. I'm getting information from this environment. This is not so good what's going on right now. Here is your fear, right? This is now you're getting lower in your brain as you start to look like this is the cortex. This is your cortex, right? When you're calm, everything's great. You're optimal functioning. As you start to get more activated in this arousal continuum, which is this part down here, with this part down here, right? You start to go lower and lower in your brain. So let me scooch this over so you can see it better. So now we are here in the fear, and where this is the brainstem area. And this is full on fight, flight, freeze response that's happening, and you're just reacting based on your body's natural instinct for survival. When you're talking about abuse, multiple adverse experiences, basically where your threat to survival is being triggered, you're here, you're feeling afraid, fear, and you're reacting. Terror is for very, very severe types of abuses that I won't get into. Like, I won't describe the examples here just because I don't want to trigger anybody, but this fear of absolute terror. And with both of these, right, this is the stress response system is in full activation here. But these just tell you the degrees to which the stress response system, which they produce certain types of behavior. Looking at your fear response here, you're in your brainstem area. Fight, flight, freeze has been triggered. And when you go over here, I spoke of this, I think in the first video, you have your hyperarousal continuum. So this is like your movement stuff, your fight or your flight. And this is the dissociative continuum, and this is the freeze mode. So when freeze is activated, you get dissociation. So that's a feeling of detachment. The movement one or hyperarousal, you'll get some they say defiance. So I'll leave it as defiance. So the defiance here is like, I can either outrun or I can fight my way out of this situation. Again, you don't have, as you see, you don't have access to this part over here, this cognitive piece. It's just what's on instinct. Terror, the feeling of absolute terror, which I won't describe examples of how that can come because I don't want to trigger anybody who's watching this video who might have experienced intense abusive situations. But just know that this is the most, these are the most extreme behaviors that the person who's in the fight, flight, freeze mode can engage in. So with the dissociation continuum, you have fainting, and the heart rate is really low. The endorphins are flooding the body. That's here. With aggression, this is again you're fighting, and literally the thought, the term "fight for your life" is here. So that's activated when you feel a sense of terror. If I go down here and share this other part with you, right? Which I think is really important. And this is all stuff that I use when I'm speaking with my clients and helping my clients, and I do the NMT, which I talked about yesterday. But it's information that's provided by Dr. Bruce Perry, so that's him right here, and the Child Trauma Academy, so it's theirs. But it's part of my training, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. So please don't copy it and share it, or if you do, make sure you give credit to the Child Trauma Academy, because it's theirs. Okay, so this is stuff that's happening in your brain all the time, right? You're kind of moving through typically these areas. Like you're just kind of in this realm, but when you have any type of trauma, right, your baselines get shifted. So you might go from a calm state and get triggered, completely skip over alert and move your way here to alarm or fear or a terror. This is really rare to jump right into a terror response. You have to have some pretty significant trauma, but it does happen. So you move from here to here. This is kind of like the middleman, right? You still have some cortical functioning here to kind of mediate. And this is where when I talk with my clients and as therapists talk about the healing process, right? We want you to not move from, we don't want you to move from boom to boom. We need this middle part to come online. That's where the grounding techniques come in to slow you down. So you're like, okay, this is a different instance than the one that happened before. I can still think my way out of this. I don't need to just react purely with this emotional impulse that's happening. So again, I want you to think about that alert piece that's there in the middle as kind of like that bridge between the calm state and your alarm state where the stress response gets triggered. So here's one of the hard parts about the limbic system, especially when you're talking about treatment, is not only is the limbic system the emotional part of your brain, how it gets developed and how it gets kind of fine-tuned is in relationship with other people. So like your experiences with your primary caregivers, those early experiences with the adults in your life, with what we call co-regulation. And so it's the example is, the toddler who's walking and then they fall and they look up at you and they don't have any reaction, right? They are almost like a blank slate. They don't have a reaction. And you have the parent who goes, oh, oopsies, you fell down, you're okay. Maybe they give them a hug, whatever, but they're calm. So the child's like, oh, I fell, no big deal, get back up, and they live their life. But if the parent's like, oh my God, you fell, are you okay? Then the kid starts bursting into tears, and now mom is crying. So mom is crying, the baby's crying, toddler's crying. So in that example, right, the toddler is learning the cues, like how they feel emotionally based off of their parents' reaction to what's going on. It's, again, everything is like a little bit more complex in the way I'm explaining it, but this is the most simplistic way that I can explain it to help you understand what's going on for yourself and maybe what's going on with your partner or even your own child. And so when you're talking about kind of targeting these areas of the brain for healing, this is why therapy is so important, because the person the therapist is basically your therapist is serving as that God, I don't know how to make it not sound corny. They're filling in that gap for you, that piece that was missing relationally, in a way that's like safe, that makes you feel safe and nurtured and taken care of, while also, of course, obviously holding you accountable and helping you grow as an individual. It can be very challenging to do any limbic system targeted interventions on your own. And so I don't have any recommendations specifically for that. I can't, at least for today, because what I'll do is when I talk tomorrow about cortical modulation, the cortex is the piece that you use to kind of override and to jump in there. So again, the limbic system, it's the emotional part of your brain. It gives you information about what's going on out in your outside environment, as well as what's going on in your in your internal environment, and it drives certain behaviors, and it's key in the stress response system. You respond when the stress response system is activated. So that's all I have today about the limbic system. I hope you found this helpful. Comment down below. Let me know, is there anything else you would like me to tell you about the limbic system? Is there anything you think I missed? Let me know. Comment below. I love hearing from you. So take care, and I'll see you in the next one.